The Egyptian Red Crescent in North Sinai prepared 17 humanitarian aid trucks in front of Egypt's Rafah border crossing that entered the Gaza Strip on Sunday. The trucks contain medicine, medical supplies, and food. On Saturday, on the sidelines of the Cairo Summit for Peace, UN Under-Secretary-General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths hailed Egypt's important role to enter 28 trucks. The 20 trucks transport vital humanitarian aid, including food and medical supplies, to reach the 2.3 million Palestinians in the Strip. Also, volunteers from the Decent Life Foundation and the National Alliance for Civil Development Work have staged a sit-in in front of the Rafah crossing to protest the relocation of Palestinians into Sinai and Israel's blockade for humanitarian aid to Gaza. The Decent Life initiative, launched in 2021, expressed its full support for President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's decision and announced a sit-in in front of the Rafah border crossing to support humanitarian aid enter into Gaza. Their statement also called on the Egyptian people to not hesitate to support the Palestinian cause with all forms of solidarity, and the Palestinian cause is at the forefront of the priorities of Egyptian society and the Arab conscience. Meanwhile, Palestinian Ministry of Health reported that the entry of the trucks represents only 3% of the typical daily influx of health and humanitarian supplies, which used to exceed 600 trucks per day before the Israeli war on Gaza. Earlier, Minister of Foreign Affairs Sameh Shukri rejected as unacceptable any attempts to misrepresent Egypt's position on the Rafah crossing, asserting that the crossing has never been officially closed by Egypt, but it is not functioning normally after being targeted by Israel 4 times. Israel has imposed a total blockade on the Strip for 17 days and cut off food, water, and electricity, worsening the already dire humanitarian situation.
Right, welcome back. And these were footages in the video on children in the under occupation and under strike. And definitely Egypt has been exerting its utmost effort for the support of the Palestinians and for delivering aid, and it has put terms into delivery that the United Nations, along with the UNRWA, would be monitoring the delivery of the aid. Yes, let me just first have your comments on the footages of the children we've just seen before we speak about the issue of the aid.
I wish you didn't ask that question, actually. Let me just say that it's not only heartbreaking, but it really, it's a killer to the soul of anybody who, I mean, the worst thing that can happen to parents is to see their children die in their hands. And the worst thing that can happen to small children is to see their parents go under the rubble of buildings or bombs or whatever. So let us not continue on that, but let us have the more optimistic approach to try to see what is being done to help the Palestinians, to have these children survive that ordeal, that very, very, very strong and deep ordeal. I think Egypt has made its position very clear. I will not open the Rafah gate until there is a consent of sending assistance to the Palestinians, yes, to the Palestinians, to Gaza, and tit for tat. So, in retrospect, we are going to take the double nationality Israelis to allow them to live through the Egyptian ports, because they have no other way of going. I mean, trying to send them away from any other part is problematic. So we have seen yesterday and today But I mean, trucks like this, I mean, trailers like this, I mean, 20 trailers per every time or every day, what it will help for all these people.
Put into consideration, Your Excellency, that Israel has refused all trucks that contained fuel and oil.
No, it's no oil, no fluid, no petroleum.
This is what I'm speaking about. Fuel and oil were refused, were totally rejected by Israel.
Hospitals needs these things. I mean, it's really incredibly offending, you know. I mean, to the human mind, to see that people who speak about human rights.
What human rights, Your Excellency?
See that it applies to certain people very strongly, and it doesn't apply to other people. So I think that also one major step that Egypt has undertaken. I mean, Egypt is in contact, like you mentioned in your introduction, is in contact with all the potential players in this dilemma. It is really working very hard to try to find. I mean the president is receiving and exchanging calls with different leaders of the world. A foreign minister has left to New York to attend the Security Council meeting. The Security Council was not able, even because of the US veto, twice to undertake to say, stop fighting, ceasefire. So I think that the president has set in the Cairo summit for peace, and I think it was a good approach, and it was a good step that we undertaken for many reasons. First of all, it's not enough that Egypt cites its position just, you know, throughout its media or throughout its diplomacy, but via an international gathering that has a good number of heads of states, kings, heads of government, foreign ministers, and also the representation of the United Nations, the Arab League, and the African Union. I mean, these are the international and regional organization of all the parties. So this is important because they have a role to play. Not now, even later on. Let's speak about UNRWA, for example.
Yes.
You know, I mean, let me tell you, what does UNRWA stand for? United Nations Relief and Works for Palestine refugees in the Near East. That means that when the UNRWA was established in 1949, it was speaking about Palestine refugees. So it is there. I mean, the concept of Palestine is there since the inception and after the declaration of the establishment of Israel.
The United Nations does not consent Israel as a state without the initiation of a Palestinian state. Doesn't this give an indication, for God's sake?
So UNRWA now is having an impossible mission. I mean, they don't have the means, they don't have the contribution to undertake some kind of a relief even for that particular situation. I mean, it's beyond their means. They are saying, and then 29 of their staff have gone under the rubbles in all this. So I mean, it's really a very difficult situation, and I think the Egyptian diplomacy seems to be the viable diplomacy and viable capital that can undertake some kind of a track to diplomacy.
Yes, yes.
And I think we regardless or taking into account all the factors playing here, I think we have to start it as soon as possible. I mean, the president in his speech did put a roadmap. He did put some proposal for a modus operandi. What do we do?
Here, we have to state exactly that there were messages given and a roadmap as well. So
Yes.
the unwavering support of Egypt culminated in this international peace conference that was held here in Cairo. The messages that were given by the president, and then the roadmap.
All right. Unwavering support for the Palestinian cause. We respect the safety of all civilians. We have to work together to try to find a solution to that. We have to open humanity, so we have to start by a humanitarian truce, open humanitarian corridors to allow help, work for a ceasefire to come, and restraining all the atrocities and all the
violence.
The violence that is happening in there, and then at the very end working to establish now. And it does seem that all this complication and all this misery and all this very, very, very sad situation where we are all facing, I think it will present a good opportunity to take it seriously, to establish and to start working very hard for that Palestinian state issue. I think the world is ready now. I mean, before that, the world was kind of playing with it, you know, as some kind of an issue that we can, well, let's look what's going on. But I think that after what happened and the developments and the posture and the attributes of the Israeli thinking and policy, be it military or being diplomacy or internally, how there is a division, some kind of a division of opinion inside Israel and in the international community. But the trend is going towards, well, let's once and for all give these people a state. It's not going to be an easy process, but it has to start somewhere. And I think the sometime and somewhere is now.
There was one clear message from the president regarding respectively what you said. The Palestinian cause will continue, the displacement is impossible, the annihilation of a whole population is impossible, and the solution cannot come on the expenses of Egypt. These were two clear messages said by the president. You read into those messages.
Absolutely. I mean, he did mention that a good number of times, and I think this is a concern that he kind of dismissed the notion that the borders of Egypt are breakable at any point in any time. And actually he did put the proposal to the Israeli, he says, well, you have the Nakab desert. You can have them there and work it in the proper way from there. Why
until a Palestinian?
I mean, so I think it's a very strong message said in a very open way, so that there are no misunderstandings about it. I mean, this is the word that he used, and a lot of, I mean, leaders use now, a red line.
Indeed, indeed. He put the red line for the second time, indeed. And of course, definitely, he dismissed totally the issue of the liquidation of a Palestinian state, of the Palestinian cause. What should we be waiting for at this upcoming stage, and what do we need from the international community?
We need a fresh look from the international community to this whole issue. We need a fair look from the international community. We need an active mode of operation. We need a more conscious world, that there are different dangers that we could be exposed to. I mean, with the situation between Ukraine and Russia, there has been since so much talk about a third world war. Now we have two fronts open, and we have two fronts open, and where the United States is a major player in both areas and in both fronts where we have a conflict. And I think it would be very difficult
Yes.
and very dangerous that we leave this front hot, not solved, not approached. I think the international community should address these two issues in reference to the world, to the international community and the world peace. I mean, we have been speaking about COP27 and now coming COP28. What kind of effect on the climate has this war brought?
Yes, yes.
I mean, I mean, somebody will have to make that study.
Right.
And so, but anyway,
Yes.
I think that the international community, there is a meeting
Yes.
of the summit, European summit on Thursday. I hope that they will be wise enough to
Come
undertake
out
the
with
right.
it. Indeed, indeed. Unfortunately, my time is out, and they have been.
There is so
speaking.
much to say about the whole
Indeed,
issue, I
indeed,
know.
all the time, all the time. Ambassador Jilan Allam, former assistant, former. So thank you so much for being with us tonight and for your
Pleasure.
input. Our pleasure. And I guess that takes us to the end of this episode. Hopefully, the next stage would see better news. Many thanks for watching.